You've made it to part 23, and by now the basics aren't basics anymore. They're a foundation. So the question shifts. It's no longer how do I use Linux, but where do I take it from here? In this part, we'll map out the paths ahead. Career directions, certifications worth earning, and the deeper topics that turn a capable user into a specialist. Here's the route we'll take. First, 4 career paths Linux opens up and the certifications that back them. Then the deeper technical topics worth chasing and a simple rhythm for staying current as the ecosystem moves. We'll close on 2 things that quietly matter most: building real projects instead of just reading, and finding the communities that pull you forward. So 4 broad directions. SysAdmin keeps the fleets running. Monitoring, on-call, the daily heartbeat of infrastructure, often paired with Ansible and Prometheus. DevOps and SRE build the pipelines around that, leaning on Docker, Kubernetes, and Terraform. Security splits into defense and offense, hardening, auditing, incident response. And cloud engineering sits on top of all of it, because under every hyperscaler it's still Linux. All 4 overlap, all 4 pay well. Pick the one that pulls at you. Once you've picked a direction, certs can help you prove the baseline. The hands-on ones carry the most weight because you can't fake a live terminal exam. LFCS is the honest vendor-neutral starting point. RHCSA is the one enterprise actually asks for. LPIC is solid, especially in Europe, though it leans theoretical. And CKA is where Linux quietly becomes cloud-native. The natural next step once the fundamentals are in place. So how do you actually choose? Match the cert to the room you want to walk into. If you're aiming at Red Hat shops or enterprise gigs, RHCSA is the signal. Want something vendor-neutral and equally hands-on? LFCS. Already living in Docker and ready for the next layer up? CKA. And if you're in the European market or just want something more affordable and multiple choice friendly, LPIC 1 holds its own. Don't chase prestige. Chase the signal that matches your target. Beyond certs, here are the directions worth wandering into. Configuration management and infrastructure as code teach you to stop touching servers by hand. Container orchestration and observability are where modern ops actually lives. And if you want to go down rather than out, kernel internals and security depth will keep you busy for years. Pick one, go deep, then come back for another. Don't try to graze all 6 at once. Once you've picked a direction, the next question is how to keep up without drowning. 30 minutes a week is enough if you choose your sources well. LWN is the gold standard for thoughtful Linux coverage. Fornix catches the scoops. Hacker News and the subreddits give you the pulse, just time box them. And bookmark Brendan Gregg, his writing on performance and eBPF rewards every reread. But reading only takes you so far. What actually compounds is building, so pick one project for the next month and ship it. Turn your manual VPS setup from Part 22 into a single Ansible playbook. Stand up a 3-node K3s cluster on Raspberry Pis and watch it survive a reboot. Build a little status page with a system timer behind it. Or write a small tool and publish it. Even a tiny shell script in a Git repo changes how you think. Building alone gets lonely fast, though, which is why the next step is finding your people. Locally, CHUP is still the anchor, mailing list, forum, the occasional meetup, and the Hungarian DevOps and Linux discords are where a lot of the day-to-day chatter happens. Globally, lurk on the Unix and Stack Exchange and open a GitHub account just to fix a typo somewhere. That first pull request really is a milestone. And don't skip the in-person meetups. One evening at a Budapest DevOps Days can be worth 10 blog posts. Community pulls you forward, but real growth comes from a loop you run on yourself. 4 steps. Read something deep, build something with it, break it by pushing past where you're comfortable, then teach what you learned. Even just a Slack message counts. Run that loop over and over, and you get 5 years of actual experience instead of 1 year lived 5 times. To make that loop concrete, here's a 90-day shape you can actually follow. Month 1. Consolidate. Go back over the parts that felt shaky, run the Part 22 project on a real VPS, and start a daily Linux journal in whatever notes app you already use. Month 2, specialize. Pick one deeper topic, Ansible, Kubernetes, whatever pulls you, work through a solid free course, and build a small side project with it. Month 3, signal. Book a cert exam like LFCS or RHCSA, push one open source contribution, and write up that VPS project as a blog post. It's not the only path, but it's a real one. Before you run that plan, 3 traps worth naming. The first is the tutorial loop, finishing course after course without ever shipping. Pair every book with a project, or don't start the next one. The second is chasing every shiny tool. Go deep on a few instead. Bash, Linux, one config management tool, one cloud. And the third, maybe the worst, is hiding your work because it's not polished enough. Publish small, publish often, publish imperfect. Sharing is the multiplier on everything you learn. On the subject of going deep, here's a short shelf to grow into. Brian Ward's How Linux Works is the gentlest way to fill in the big picture. Karisk's Linux programming interface is the syscall Bible. Heavy, but it'll sit on your desk for years. Brendan Gregg's systems performance teaches you to diagnose like an engineer, not a guesser. The Phoenix project is the odd one out. A novel, read it on a plane, and you'll finally feel why DevOps exists. And the Bash cookbook is pure everyday utility. Skim them all, pick one, finish it before you reach for the next. So before we close this part out, let's compress everything into 5 lines you can actually carry with you. Pick one direction: SysAdmin, DevOps, security, or cloud. They all pay, so the wrong move is staying undecided. One cert is enough to prove you're real, and scheduling the exam is what makes it happen. Pair every course with a project, because reading without shipping is just motion. 30 minutes a week, held for years, beats any sprint. And publish what you build. The act of sharing is where the learning actually locks in. And one last thing before you close this deck. Linux didn't exist when most senior engineers started their careers. Kubernetes didn't exist when most cloud engineers started theirs. The tools will keep changing, but files, processes, networks, scheduling, debugging, those don't. You've built the fundamentals now, and everything new just layers on top of what you already know. Welcome to the rest of your career. So here we are, 23 parts down, 1 to go. The next and final part is your graduation. A look back across everything you've built, the skills now sitting in your hands, and the doors that just quietly opened behind you. Take a breath. You made it this far. I'll see you in part 24.